Okay, so welcome back to the Breaking Ice podcast. My name is Josh Ferguson. Today we're sitting down with Tommy Kakfwi from Port Good Hope. I got to know you when I was working on the SSI project when we were making that video about the Mackenzie Valley Highway.
Yeah.
Hopefully that still has some kind of an impact. But we interviewed then, and that's kind of when I got to know you a little bit.
Yes.
And I actually had mentioned this show then, but I'm not sure if anyone knew what I was talking about.
No, I didn't.
So, well, here you are. It's nice to bring this full circle. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. More curious than anything that brought me over here.
Yeah, well, last night we were at the Legion, and I just said, hey, Tom, you want to come on my show? And he was just like, sure, not knowing what we were doing at all, which I respect the courage there, man. That's awesome.
Adventure.
So tell me, so you run the radio show in Good Hope? Tell me about that.
CBQE, it's a long story. It actually started up in, must have been early 70s.
Okay.
And it moved a couple of times, and with the new building, yeah. So I've been on the radio since it originated and to date.
You've been involved that whole time?
I've been involved. Mind you, I've been in and out of the community.
Sure.
For employment and educational purposes.
Yeah. And what does the channel do? What do you guys?
It's more of an information country music type radio station that gives information on the current events, and as a broadcaster, I'm also fluent in the local dialect, so the elders are aware. They are aware of the activities that are currently going on, and within the next day or so, the next week.
That's cool. So it's an information channel. You kind of put things out there, keep people updated.
Yeah.
Nice. And you enjoy doing it? What is it about radio that makes you interested?
To me, it's therapeutic.
Okay.
It relaxes me if there's an issue on my mind without my listeners being aware. I also release it. I talk, and it takes a load off me.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good, you know.
So do you do like opinion at all on the show, or is it all just trying to kind of like straight shooting news?
Cross section, you know, and also give my opinions on and give them an overview of some of the meetings that take place, and it gives an opportunity to those that can't attend meetings as a single parent, or because of their disability, or because of the weather.
Totally.
And it gives them an overview of what was said and the things that they can expect down the road in case it was just a preliminary meeting. And there's more to come. You know, just give them information. Yeah.
So what's your like air intro? Are you like, here's Tommy Kakfwi?
No, I don't have any. Good morning. That's it. You know, give them the current weather, and just give them an idea of what I'm going to be talking about in the morning, and who's going to be coming on at 11 o'clock. And
to do guests?
I do have other programs that other organizations and departments hold. So
nice.
So they're on for an hour. Yeah. Sometimes you just have guests that just pop in.
Totally.
Especially the elders just come in. I want to say something. So
that's so cool. Well, that's one of the things I want to do with this show is like, we've been obviously through different means, but you know, the town will hire me to like shoot coverage of something. So then we'll just kind of put it out there, very little editing, mostly just cutting cameras back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's basically like a second by second recount of exactly what happened in, say, the candidates meeting. And it's just a means to keep people informed about what's going on, similar to your show. But with this show, I kind of look at it as this chance because I can offer it for free. I've kind of figured out how to. Well, I love it, right? So I don't make any money from it. So I come and I do this, but then I've figured out how to edit it really quickly, so I don't have to sink a lot of time into it. So it allows me to offer it for free. But I keep telling people that, if you have someone who you think would be a great guest, I would love to talk to them. And it's also a means for kind of like story capture. So I'd love to have elders on and hear about their lives and tell us stories or myths or whatever they want to put. So that's always on the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of elders that they say every time an elder passes away, there's a whole library of information that
No
goes
kidding.
with them. It just we'd be playing cards in the evenings, and some stories surface,
Totally.
and comical, it's stories they just you never heard before
Totally.
of some of their adventures, and it's nice to know
That's awesome.
that you look at an elder and never realize that this is what they did,
Mm-hmm.
and the information comes in, and you say, "Wow, cool."
So let's talk about your upbringing. Where'd you spend most of your time as a kid?
I spent I was born on the land, so I don't really have a.
Mm-hmm.
But I was raised in Fort Good Hope, and I was raised by my grandparents because my mom fell sick and she went to Charles Camsell Hospital, and spent a couple of years there. And my dad had 11, about nine children
You had 9 children.
with him when my mom left.
Okay.
And he couldn't handle it. I mean,
That's
Mom
a
was
lot.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a hunter trapper, and housekeeping and raising children was not exactly
Strong suit.
nothing he wanted any part of. So he gave us out, didn't adopt us, but I end up with my grandparents.
So did the kids kind of split ways in terms of
Yeah,
spreading out the load?
Yeah, just all in the same community.
Yeah.
And I was raised by my grandparents.
What were they like?
Well, it was comfortable. My grandfather owned a store, so I never really knew what poverty was.
Sure.
He was a hunter and a store owner, and I grew up comfortable.
They had means.
Yeah, and
What kind of store? Was it just general?
it was a general store.
And did they sell furs too, or?
They bought furs.
They bought furs.
They bought furs, and they had goods. I mean, wasn't too much at the time. It just more the basic needs of trappers.
Totally.
Yeah, and so I grew up with them until my mom returned, and then I was resorted going back to my grandparents.
Sure. What were their personalities like? Like, what kind of a man was your grandfather?
My grandmother was very quiet, just kind of like. And my grandfather, he was a trader, so he had broken English.
Oh, okay.
He had broken English, but he somehow he got by.
Hey.
Got by, and
Broken English is useful.
yeah, and so that's how I was raised, and then tuberculosis came, and I was one of the victims, and spent 2 years of my childhood as a tuberculosis patient from the Klavic, and then when the Inuvik General Hospital opened, I was one of the first patients inside there. So.
Was that a scary time?
I was too young. I mean, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Didn't even know I was sick. I just that I was
Were you like
taken away from my
6 or like something like that?
but 5,
Okay.
and
God, that is
but
hard.
it wasn't so hard because when I got admitted, my mom was in the hospital also, and my grandparents and my dad. So most of my family were already sick with tuberculosis.
So you were surrounded by family.
I was surrounded by family, and and it just carried on to Inuvik, and my dad was released before me, and then there was a period of just being alone. And
How long was that?
about a year, I think, about a year.
So you at that point you must have been like 6 or 7
Yeah.
or something, and
And
that's
yeah,
a long time to be alone.
I guess I displayed a lot of hostility.
Mm.
I don't know, just from what some of the nurses that were telling the story about me,
Sure.
tearing up the pajamas and sheets and pillowcases,
Well,
displaying anger.
I can imagine not understanding why you're separated from your family, or
Yeah, and the food was not exactly. I mean, you were forced to eat, so I and being restricted to bed with tuberculosis, you when you're forced to eat, then you gain a lot of weight. So from an agile little guy to somebody that couldn't run very well
yeah, that's
because of all that excess weight. Anyway, so that's how it was.
But you beat it.
I beat it, and as you can see, I'm alive today.
Yeah. Here I am.
Yeah, and yeah, after that, I returned home.
So at that point, you had lived through more adversity than 70% of people do.
Yeah, like wow. But yeah, during that 2-year period when I went to the hospital, I had no understanding of the English language.
Okay.
At the end of 2 years, I had no idea about my I show it in dialect. I couldn't understand it.
Wow. So it was a complete transformation.
Transformation, and an old woman came in, started yapping away, and I knew who my mom was, and I asked her, who's that old woman? What is she saying? Oh, that's your grandma. And it took a lot of years. For me to relearn the dialect, and it was only through the elders that I was able to obtain it.
So you're still fluent.
I'm still fluent. I'm still learning because there's
Sure.
some of the older people. They have descriptive words that I don't use, but it feels so good to hear them use it. And
what kind of a descriptive word? Give me an example.
oh, I really can't tell you right now. It's just when you're talking, it's all based on the topic. Yeah, and some of the terms they use, they're adjectives. And,
Okay.
yeah, so I liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned.
So
I learned from the real old people like Martha McCann, who was an elder lady. She used to call me in and give me a piece of bannock and tea, and we'd be talking, and I make errors, and she'd giggle and say it this way, and it's just. I was very close with the elders. I don't know why I hung out with them. They have just awesome stories,
yeah.
Of being raised and just how they grew up and some of their adventures. And a lot of it would be just over tea and a bowl of soup.
Yeah.
They share their stories. It's not only just with myself, it'd be
No,
other guests that they had.
Yeah.
And I just sit in and absorb it.
it's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. They say it was hard, but it was also they were able to adapt to the harsh climate, and today I don't think anybody would survive it because
Well,
there were no rubber boots.
well, that's just it. Yeah, if you have the choice not to, you'll just do that, right? But if you're in a situation where you're forced to deal with the circumstance,
Yeah,
you will.
yeah. It was survival, and they just took it in stride.
Yeah.
There was no mosquito dose back then. And
Yeah.
they talked about swarms in the summertime and
Of the bugs.
the dogs. When you see the first snowfall in the fall time, and the dogs are happy. No more bugs.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine that, living on the land like that and it being so harsh and being so real, that you experience like the lowest lows of that lifestyle, but you also get to experience the most incredible peaks
Yeah.
of and beautiful moments, right? When you're interfacing with nature that regularly and that often, you get moments that you can't even believe are happening.
Yeah, and as a result of tuberculosis, I didn't have any stamina. And
How
after
how long did the result of tuberculosis affect your life? Or, was it like years
To
and
date.
years? To date, okay.
to date,
Yeah.
my stamina, like I can play in a gym like straight out for about 3 hours in a gym playing basketball and things like that. But to do something like cross country skiing
Yeah.
or even skating in the arena, I peter out right away.
It's really hard. Yeah.
It's I don't know what it is. Yeah, so I challenged all kinds of activities through the years: basketball, volleyball, field soccer. Oh man, that I only lasted about 5 minutes in there.
I wonder if
I was trying to run all over the field. It's like, slow down, stay on your corner. But I was all over the place. Yeah, so I enjoyed indoor soccer. I tried court tennis and everything except golf.
okay.
Yeah, I tried hockey and cross country skiing. I trained with one of the top world skiers in Inuvik, and
Downhill skiing or
no,
cross country skiing. Okay.
Yeah, I did some training with him, and actually ran. Just he wanted somebody to train with him, so I ran from downtown Inuvik to the airport and back before breakfast
With him.
with him. Yeah,
Whoa.
just with a bottle of water and some ginger snaps.
Tell me it was summertime.
It was in the springtime.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fairly warm. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was early June. Yeah, so it was good.
So do you think the impact of tuberculosis restricting the stamina that you had, do you think that kind of pushed you towards maybe something more intellectual, like the stories and spending time with elders?
Yeah, I don't know. Because of my disability, I wanted to excel, and I challenged all recreational activities and anything that came before me. I wanted to be good. I didn't want to be laughed at because I was slow and chubby when I came out of the hospital, and uh, yeah, that's what I strive for.
Yeah.
But then I became adventurous after that. You know, I like I said, being adventurous. I might be a dinner Huckleberry Finn. I don't know.
So tell me how that. Tell me more about your adventurous side. What? I'm gonna get more coffee, but tell me. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's like I I went to school, and high school. I got kicked out of all my high school schools, and at grade 10, I wanted to finish, get 100 credits as quickly as possible. So at grade 10, I did 44 credits, no spares, and so I could do grade 12 with minimum amount, and still get 100 credits without being getting exhausted. So I did grade 10, and then I got kicked out, and fought fire all summer. And at the end of August, fire season was over, and I had a bunch of checks, and all my friends were going back to school. And what am I going to do? I asked my dad, what am I going to do with all this? He said, well, let's go to the land. Yeah, well.
That's what you always say.
Yeah. And I've never known my dad to go out in the land. I knew briefly, just from stories, that he was raised on the land, but I never really pictured myself going out in the land. I thought, that should be easy. Just set up a tent, sit inside, feed the fire, eat, and read comic books. And that stereotype picture of living on the land was quickly demolished.
Yeah, reality came crashing down.
Oh yeah, the cold, waking up in a tent, and like minus 40 below, and getting.
So, you spent the whole winter on the land?
Not the whole winter. I spent from the middle of September until prior to Christmas.
Okay, so that's some serious weather.
Yeah, it was, and
it was colder back then, right?
Well, I don't know. It was cold.
Well, I meant colder earlier. Like in October, would you have like -10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. October 10th, it was the lake froze over, and that was my my little education and life on the land.
Totally.
But for my dad, my mom, it was simple. They just knew exactly what to do. Me, oh man, I was, like I said, I could play in a gymnasium for 3 hours, and I thought living on the land would be
cakewalk.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, what I think is cool in what I'm learning is that you were born in this environment, but then you got sick and left. And when you were older, you kind of had to rediscover all the parts of your life. Yeah. You had to rediscover the language, and you had to rediscover the tradition of living on the land.
Yeah, and so that was one of the adventures, and then.
Well, tell me more about that time. Like, were you living with your father on the land, or were you living mostly alone on the land?
Oh no, I wouldn't go out in the land by myself. I'd either starve or freeze. Anyways, I was very dependent on my family for that, because they have knowledge that I couldn't even come close to. That's how they were raised.
Yeah.
And I grew up on running water and flush toilets and showers, and out there on the land, oh no, you had deal with the elements is stick your butt out in the cold.
So what did it teach you? What were your takeaways from that time?
I think it gave me an idea not to laugh at elders. And my brother, my oldest brother, who passed away a few years back from cancer, said, "You see somebody in the community that's all you see is a drunk person." He said, "You take that alcohol away and you put them on the land, and they will show you who they really are." And that's what I was able to see. You know, my dad, my mom and dad were both alcoholics, and in town, my dad was drunk, but out in the land, as soon as we landed, he knew exactly where to set net, how to set net, and you know, before it got dark, he went out, checked the net, and there was 5 big whitefish, freshwater whitefish from the lake, and I spent 3 months eating fish. I swear to God, I'll never go out there again unless I had some hamburger with me. But I returned.
No salt.
I returned to the community prior to Christmas, and
Made of fish.
Yeah, smell of fish. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, I returned, and yeah, I had biggest cheeseburger and Coke. Yeah, my auntie owned a restaurant, owned a cafe, and yeah. But that was my life on the land. It just I grew to respect the elders and those that nobody saw the story behind the alcoholic appearance. Yeah, and so but my life just turned around after I returned. There's 3 of us who were called to the high seas. It was a Beaufort drilling expedition.
Okay.
With Canmar, and I've never been seasick, but I swear to God, I was over the rails. It was bad. You got 24-foot waves way out there.
How big was this boat that you were on?
It was a drill ship, very, very slow. You know, it just rattled when it moved to be winterized in Herschel Island. But I don't know the size of it.
Pretty big though. How many people were on it?
There were a lot. It was a drill ship, so there were a lot of personnel.
Okay.
A lot of personnel. There were a lot of cooks and.
Like it was bigger than 50 feet.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'd be bobbing on in the ocean.
Wow, what a crazy time.
It was, and like I said, I was beginning to.
How old were you at this point?
I was. Let me see. About 20.
Okay.
About 20 years old, and
is this other than having tuberculosis and spending time in Inuvik, is this one of the first times that you really spent time, like a serious amount of time outside of the Sawtooth?
Yeah. With my education, and then I started working.
Yeah.
I left school at grade 10 with.
That's right.
And
okay, well, let's not miss out on the ship. I want to know more about this ship getting winterized.
The ship, yes, and we met. We're actually working in the kitchen.
Okay.
So we stayed away from the drillers from Houston. The boat came all the way from Houston.
Was it full of Americans?
Americans,
okay.
Drillers, and they went through the Northwest Passage, and we're up past Tuck. And it was, like I said, it was adventurous, like money making, and we came out of there after 3 weeks with brand new skidoo, and
That's not half bad.
it was fun. I mean, started to enjoy being on the land, just hauling wood and hunting, and
Did you get to know the Americans? Like, was there a lot of interaction with other people on the ship?
no, the drillers, they usually kept with themselves, and we just stayed in the mess hall and made sure that they were served, and all their laundries were done, the sheets. So it was, we didn't really interact with them very much. There was a big poker game at the end of the
Wage of your paycheck?
not me. I stayed away from them. They were big time gamblers. They were selling sections of land, and like I wouldn't even know what that is. Like, I don't own anything except my clothes.
It's a whole different life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, after that, I did all kinds of odd jobs, including being a crew that built the Dempster Highway.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, from Inuvik to Rangling with Catry Construction out of Vancouver, and then from Sigachik to Rangling with Western Construction.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
What was your role there?
I was, swamper, I was a packer,
So operating equipment?
Not so much equipment except the packer and walking a cat back to the camp in the cold. Mm-hmm. It was cold.
Yeah.
And
were you guys building in the winter?
Yeah, and that wind was cold.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I was there helping them build a super culvert that was put together. It was put together in plates, and I found out later on it collapsed.
Oh.
It collapsed. It was too big, and it couldn't take the strain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge, and there was 3 of us that started. Now I'm the only one that stayed behind because of the cold. They were getting frostbite in the fingers, and I was stubborn. I don't know what it is about me. Like,
well, it seems like you wanted to prove yourself after your sickness.
Yeah, and I wanted to stay, and then they gave me a truck. I had no idea about standard vehicles. So you see it on the commercial. This guy driving, think he's going to go forward. He's going backwards. So that was me. And that's where I got my driving lesson.
Okay.
They gave me a truck and said, hey, here, take a propane tank, jack, and check all the culverts all the way up to Cabot Creek. And I did.
Some other high adventure right there.
Yeah, and I did all that, including seismic work, and for 5 years, and fought fire. Oh yeah, fought fire. I was on a suppression crew. Initial attack. We're a bunch of just real young, high energy drunks. But
fighting fire.
But the thing was, when you said, or the fire alarm went off, we tried to have all our equipment and everything on the chopper and lift it off the ground within 10 minutes.
Nice. That's
we
awesome.
tried that.
Yeah.
We tried that. We got 12 minutes.
That's pretty good.
That is, and this is for a bunch of alcoholics. work hard and drink hard. You know, our whole summer's wages were spent on parties, chartering planes and chasing girls, and then fighting fire. You know, I did that for 4 years, and
then what was the flip side in the winter? What would you do? Was that the seismic work?
Yeah, seismic work and just hunting.
So is those really straight lines I see in the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's a big checkerboard there. That's all seismic work, exploration work, and
How do you make it so straight? I don't understand.
I didn't.
If you see any wiggly ones, that was you.
I think they had some surveyors.
Yeah.
But I personally, I don't know. They just bulldozed the whole area, and
It's because you're in the air, right? And you're looking at them, and you're going, and then it hits a lake, and it picks up perfectly on the other side.
yeah. I don't know markers, but
Totally.
yeah, you know, after 5 years in '77.
So you're what, 26 at this point?
Yeah, it wasn't Art of College. It was called AVTC, Adult Vocational Training Center,
Okay.
in Fort Smith, that were holding this upgrading to get your grade 12 equivalent, GED. And the 15th of February, there was 3 of us. Myself, Fred, and Betty went to Fort Smith. And, you know, all from the previous 5 years, during that period of time, during my little adventure on the land and firefighting and building the Dempster Highway, I always read books, comic books, Archie and, you know, Jughead or Louis L'Amour.
Mostly comic books or novels too?
Harold Robbins, yeah. Yeah, anything I could get a hold of. I always loved to read books. So...
Do you have a collection still?
No. I fall asleep now. At my age, yeah. But I went there on the 15th of February. I came out on April the 10th. About 7 weeks. I had my GED.
Okay.
I passed it. This is with students that were there from September. I went there just the last 2 months of the course, and they asked if I wanted to challenge it. I said, okay, so.
Give it a go.
Yeah. I was living upstairs in Mount Avon, and our classroom was downstairs, so our resources were all downstairs.
Was that here in Norwell?
In Fort Smith.
In Fort Smith, sorry.
Yeah, and so, you know, all those years of reading kept my mind fresh. So I didn't lose any, not too much brain cells. And yeah, and once I got my GED, man, the world opened up to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in terms of opportunities.
In terms of opportunity, and right away I got called down to. Oh yeah, no, this was before that. I even went to Pine Point.
I don't know where that is.
It was an open pit mine. I was working in a warehouse there. I didn't have a clue about what was going on. Anyways, but after I got my GED, I moved down to Edmonton by myself.
That's a big change.
Yeah, they asked me if I'd be willing to train with Imperial Oil at the Strathcona refinery for a 4th class stationary engineer.
Okay.
Me? What is that? I didn't have a clue what it was. And so, I had to leave my girlfriend and move down there, but I chose a career over her. I mean, there wasn't anything in Good Hope at the time, so I said, yeah, I'll go. So I went, and it was great. I was at Strathcona Refinery. Just pipes all over the place. I mean, the refinery is so big, it's got its own street and avenues.
Sure.
It has its own vehicles, a whole bunch of little Datsuns. Yeah, and it was great. It was great until they moved me to Norman Wells, and it was, to my idea, the worst mistake they ever made for me, because there was nothing here. There was a mess hall, my sleeping quarters, a shuffleboard.
And how long were you in
Norman Wells?
No. Edmonton.
Edmonton, I was living there on the south side. I think I lasted about 6 months altogether.
Oh, okay. So it was really quick, actually.
It was quick because I asked them to move me back to Edmonton from Norman Wells. There wasn't anything here.
You lasted 6 months here?
No, I lasted about 2 months here.
Oh, okay.
It was bad. It was like there was no recreational activities. You had one channel on TV from Vancouver in black and white, 12-inch screen, and a shuffleboard, a bar, and a mess hall in my sleeping quarters. There was nothing, and I got into drinking, and I don't know, like I couldn't stand the amount of drinking and the boredom. So I resigned. I said, bring me back to Edmonton or I'm leaving. And I left.
They didn't want it to... Yeah, no, take it.
Whoops.
Where is it? Oh, it's in your big jacket.
Yeah. Yep.
What time Alexis said she's going to go parade?
That's at 4:30.
Oh.
Okay, I'm in the studio right now.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later. Anyways, where was I?
You were talking about...
Oh, yeah.
You basically said, bring me back to Edmonton or I'm done.
Yeah, and they said, well, you have to...
They're like, okay, bye.
You have to know everything there is about the refinery here in Norman Wells. I said, it's just a small little place. I said, I could draw you a diagram of all the pipes. And they said, sure, go ahead. I did. I drew a diagram of the pipes layout, and I said, that's all there is, I do water hardness, and there wasn't much to it. Just total boredom and nothing challenging about it. So I resigned, and then from there I went into teaching.
Okay.
Teaching for a teacher education program, and I did 1 year of that. And then I got married.
Oh.
I had a two-year course, and I got married in the middle of it, and never returned.
Okay.
I love teaching. I love teaching students, but and anyways, I ended up getting married, and then I got into municipal administration.
Okay.
Office management and bookkeeping and yeah, it just...
And where'd you meet your wife?
in my studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was also studying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our eyes met across the room there.
Like, we should get married.
No, she said, nobody better tell me to move to Fort Good Hope to get married. And she married me. Yeah. Anyways, we got married in her hometown. And yeah, after
Where was
that,
her hometown?
Fort McPherson.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know where she is now. She's out on some adventure.
Did you guys start a family, or?
Yeah, we had 3 kids. One passed away of meningitis.
Oh.
One's in the military right now, and the other one's in Whitehorse. I don't know what she's doing. Yeah. Anyways, I ended up getting married and got into a home life. I built a house for my wife and kids because we're so nomadic. The first 6 years of our marriage, we moved 8 times.
Oh, that's exhausting.
Yeah, so we're...
And then you built a house?
And then I built a house.
Did you build it yourself, or?
Well, I paid the employees, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be trusted with a hamburger. No. I couldn't, not even a birdhouse, no.
And where did you build the house?
In Fort Good Hope.
Okay.
Yeah, I built it. And
Is that the house you still live in?
yes.
Okay.
To date. And yeah, and after that, it just... But all that time, I still had this thing about the radio station.
Yeah.
And I
And
always resorted to it.
did you maintain the language? The
language, yes.
Throughout all that time?
Yeah, and I stayed fluent because I would meet elders right in the middle of the street, and we'd start a conversation, and it just kept my my abilities refreshed all the time by speaking it. With my friends, some of them we'd speak together in our dialect, but most of them, because they're afraid they couldn't pronounce things properly, they could understand, but it was difficult for them to speak. And some of them, we had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we still do. Yeah, we still do. We still have fun.
So throughout all of this, you were kind of involved in the radio station?
Off and on, and having good PR, maintained a good ability to be on a radio.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, with good PR, you get to know a lot of people, and they're open with you, and you get to go places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It affords you opportunities.
Yeah, like I've been through low places and high places, and just took it in stride. Adventure.
Yeah.
I want to adventure back to the low place, but no, it might kill me. No, they call it lingering thought of going back drinking, because I never drank now. My birthday was on October 23rd.
Yeah.
11 years. I never smoked, never drank.
11 years sober.
Yeah. And
you were, so this is what did you call it? A lingering
thoughts
lingering thoughts of continuing to drink?
of going back drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
yeah, but don't... I want to explore that a little bit. Why? Because there's fond memories?
No, it's loneliness, huh? Loneliness. It's one of my biggest challenges, and sobriety is a very selfish thing. I had to sacrifice my wife and my children. I live alone now because
you're sober.
Because I'm sober, and I want to maintain it. And
oh, interesting.
To go back to my previous relationship. Like I changed, but nobody else changed.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, my father was an alcoholic, and he stopped drinking, and he recounts losing all his friends. He was young when when it all happened, but he was like, it was a total change.
yeah, well, I didn't lose any friends. It just I understand them.
Yeah,
Some of my friends are recovered alcoholics.
yeah,
Others are still involved in it. They're still practicing it, and they're just humans.
totally.
They I don't know if I can say they lack the ability to go through this. It's a really hard life. It's a lonely battle of
Sobriety.
recovering sobriety.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's not just one-time deal. It's every day. Every day.
So then why maintain it? I know there's obvious upsides, but I'm curious about your perspective.
Well, if you knew my drinking habits, I didn't drink socially. I wasn't a social drinker. I drank to get drunk, and I did. My last real serious debut with alcohol, I woke up at the hospital in Edmonton from Yellowknife.
Whoa.
I had no clothes. All my clothes were cut up to get at my vitals. They said I died a couple of times on the way to Edmonton, and just
It's kind of a reality check.
yeah, like I drank anything and everything. I think the worst of it was rubbing alcohol, man, and that's what did me in. And but you have a tendency to forget that, and sometimes say, yeah, maybe I should just go back for the weekend. Loneliness, you want to get involved in things, but
Yeah, human mind is an interesting place, eh?
but this is where I wanted to be when I was on the streets in Yellowknife.
Yeah.
I wanted this life. I prayed,
The life that you're living now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't want to be alone. Like no,
Totally.
No, because I grieved for a long time, and sometimes I still grieve the family life I had with my children. And now I visit my grandchildren. And my family, I visit them. And the grandchildren are lucky they've never seen me drinking. Yeah. And
Well, keep it up.
yeah, I enjoy life.
Yeah.
One day at a time. One day at a time. And
And does the radio station kind of fill some of that loneliness?
it does. You get callers that call in, and yeah, they say you're doing great. It feels really good when they say that.
Yeah.
That there's somebody actually listening out there. I remember there was a period of time when I didn't know we weren't broadcasting. I was talking for 2 hours and it was dead air. Yeah. So, life is just an adventure, and like coming here this morning, I didn't know this is what it was all about.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
I had to check. And now my wife is saying, when there's a Christmas parade on, interrupting me. Don't do that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, man. Is there anything? Well, if you want, like, I don't know, you're welcome to use this however you want. I'm gonna put it on my channels and whatnot. But I don't know. I think it'd be cool to be on a local station. I'm not sure if you can play it.
No, you do whatever you want with it.
No. I'm saying if you want to play it.
Oh.
On your station, you're welcome to. I'm
Oh
not sure.
no, people at home know my story. I shared with them quite often.
Fair enough.
At meetings, and
Yeah.
they have a pretty good idea. And I had to come home to find my sobriety with my people, and And it was the best choice I ever did, was getting out of the streets in Yellowknife and going back home and rebuilding myself to where I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon? You got any new adventures coming up?
None at all. None at all. Just,
Other than maintaining sobriety, which is an adventure?
yeah, I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
When there's an opportunity to go for a follow-up or some counseling sessions, I take it.
Yeah.
And I taste somebody else's cooking and just go visiting around and taking meetings, because we don't have Alcoholics Anonymous at home. So I go to meetings and I refer myself to as a real alcoholic.
And what brings you to Normal Wellness this visit?
Chase the Ace.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
My grandchildren, their mom and dad went to Edmonton for shopping, and
Oh, nice.
and my granddaughter, Grandpa, you got to come over here. I said, why? Grandma's keeping me. You better come over here. So here I am. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Come visit family and.
But I had to build my resources. I do contract work as a interpreter translator.
Okay.
For Justice Department and other.
So if I need translating services, I can come to you?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that's good to know. Every so often I do. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Wicked. Well, thanks for coming on, Tom.
No problem.
Yeah, it was
No
really
problem.
cool. Really awesome to hear your story.
Hey,
You're
like I said, at being adventurous, I was curious. What is he talking about, this Josh? Okay.
It was you're a good storyteller.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. I appreciate the risk, and I appreciate getting a chance to sit down with you, and I'm sure there'll be more to come.
Oh, yeah.
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 And, well, thanks so much.
Thanks very much, Josh.
Cheers, man.